Hey friend, I'm Danielle Damrell, and I am so grateful that you're listening to the Created Worthy podcast. This show is all about honoring the life stories of women from different ages, beliefs, backgrounds, and experiences. Everyone's got a story, and instead of getting stuck in the trap of unworthiness, this is a safe place for stories to be shared. On this show, we chat about the transformative power of creative processing too, and how we can utilize our God-given creativity with intention to heal, grow, find joy, create simplicity in the midst of our chaotic lives. So pull up a seat at our table because we are all created worthy. Hello. Welcome back to the Created Worthy podcast. Today, I have a very special episode for you guys with two incredible women on a mission to change the online dating industry as a whole to make it more safe. So today we're going to do a round table conversation with Kasey, who was a previous guest on Created Worthy and one of my dearest friends, and then Barbara as well. So just to kick this off, Barbara, do you want to tell me a little bit about who you are and how this thing that you're developing came to be, and tell us the name of it too?
Okay, so the name is LoveLock, and let me just go back. I'm a physician, retired from drug development in industry. And during COVID, Kasey and I were friends. We have a group of friends. We would get on the Zoom and have a glass of wine once a month as friends because we couldn't see each other. And always the conversation would turn to online dating and how awful it was. In spite of that, my brother, who lives in Ohio and lost his first wife, he found a mate and he subsequently married her, and we all love her. So I know it does happen, but there's a lot of work involved in getting there. And it's like finding a needle in a haystack to find that one match, right? So it's really difficult. And so we kicked around all the ideas on our Zoom meetings with our friends. And Kasey and I have subsequently kicked this around as we've been working out. And we've decided we should do something about this. So we're starting this website or this app, the dating app. It's called LoveLock. And we think it'll be a safer dating site for everybody.
I am sure it will be a safer dating site for everybody, just from the little bit that I've heard, which I'm so excited to talk more about here in just a few. This world is in desperate need of a safer means to connect, especially when it comes to dating. When you're looking for with intention, right? Intention is something I am all about. We'll probably talk about that in a bit too. But when you're dating with intention to find somebody who's going to be a life partner, that's a little bit different than finding someone who you just want to hook up with. And I think the world has kind of gotten into this place, or a bulk majority of the world has gotten into this place where it's almost more normal to go onto the standard dating apps like Tinder or I don't even know, Plenty of Fish. I know that there's a bunch of them out there, and just kind of look for a one-time connection. And that's not what you guys are building here. What you guys are building here is a safe way for people to actually create intimate connections, right? And get to know each other without the fear of it being a catfish, which that is a term that, if in case any of our listeners don't know, a catfish is essentially a fake person or somebody who's pretending to be somebody else and using somebody else's pictures. And in this modern world right now, we've got all kinds of different things happening with AI, and it's becoming increasingly dangerous, even just to connect with people who you think are people online and might not even be that. So Kasey, tell me a little bit about you, your background, and what your heart and mission is for LoveLock.
Yes, yeah. So I'm Kasey, and I have been a guest on your podcast before, episode 14 in season 1, which is so long ago now.
Yeah.
And it was called Courtroom to Wait Room. And that sort of describes my journey, my history if you want to go listen to it and hear more about it. So I am a recovering attorney, turned personal trainer, a health coach, and now apparently, entrepreneur app developer. So yeah, it's been quite a journey. Like Barbara said, we've been kicking this around for a while. And I train her, and we've been talking about it through all of our trainings and with our conversations with our friends. And, I've been single for a very long time, and I have been in the dumpster fire that is online dating for so long, just weeding through all the muck. And there are just so many like fake profiles, like bot profiles, now AI profiles. And now with AI, you've got just the pictures, but also video. And then you've got the catfish, people who are actual people, but pretending to be someone else. And then, of course, you have the people who just don't respond or are on there to just boost their ego, see how many matches they get, whatever. So yeah, we've been talking about this for a long time, and now's the time, with the development of all this AI, and with hearing from our friends and our own experiences of how truly like a time suck and an energy suck and a financial suck that a lot of these dating apps have been, it's time to do something different. And Barbara has also had a little bit of experience with the other end of dating apps. So not a dating app, but a matchmaking service. So I'll let her talk a little bit about that. But her experience with the matchmaking service, coupled with both of our experience with the online dating space, led us to sort of the idea for our platform.
Yeah. And how wonderful of a collaboration is this, that we have a physician, a retired physician, and a recovering attorney. So we've got the legal background, we've got the medical background, and then Barbara, as Kasey mentioned, it sounds like you have some background in matchmaking. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, when I first started, I was very concerned about identity theft and going online. I'm not a person who has a big Facebook account. I'm on LinkedIn, but it's professional, and I really monitor what's up there. I don't do matches off of that. So friends told me, and I saw, advertisements in magazines when I was flying and things like that of matchmakers. So I called one of them. And I said, what's your charge? What do I get for that? And do you have an age limit? And what she told me is that it's anywhere up to $50,000 a year for 4 matches. No guarantee that you're going to have the chemistry. And there was an age limit of 62 for women, no age limit for men. And she told me that was because nobody wants to date a woman over 62. Well, I disagree. I totally
reject that.
We totally reject that. So as we were kicking it around with Kasey's experience online and mine as well, I've been catfished more times than I can tell you. Mostly I attract catfishers because they figure I'm an older woman, I'm lonely, I'm probably addled, and I probably have some money. Right. So I think that's why I attract them. But what do you do if you don't say anything about yourself in your profile? So we've decided LoveLock is a combination of what the matchmaker would do, the professional matchmaker would do, in that they would do a background check, they do a financial check, they would either interview you in person over Zoom, and they would match your photos to that interview and your profile to that interview. So we've decided to up front, we will do all of that for much less than $50,000. And then when we get to the app, we won't have any fake profiles or bot driven profiles on the site. So when you join the site, LoveLock, you will know that everybody's passed the background screens and that their photographs, that they match their photographs. And then you'll have access to real people. You won't be wasting your time, swiping through people. And what we've found is that people, because they're fake profiles, they always have incredible pictures, right? And people tend to concentrate on those pictures and not on the profiles of the person that they're, we think the profile is more important than the picture. So,
Yes.
don't waste your time looking at a picture per se, but really try to get to know the person that you might be matching with.
Yeah, I think people are so tired. I actually have quite a few single friends, and I've just heard from so many of them like we are just so tired of weeding out the fakes, the bots, like Kasey had mentioned, and then the people who are just like not authentic. They're not really there for a connection. So, just from a logistical standpoint, Kasey, can you tell me what kind of safeguards? I mean, I know Barbara touched on it, but what kind of safeguards are in place so that the person on the other side of that screen, phone, app, whatever, is in fact the person that they say they are? So like, what kind of questions do you have for them? What is the intake process?
Yeah, so what happens is the person, comes to the app or comes to the website, and they put in their contact information, and immediately you are sent or prompted to complete the information that you need to do the background check, to have the background check run. So while the background check is being run by that third party, the applicant or the person who wants to online date the user, they will be completing the basic profile questions. So anything that you would have from age to height to interest, like all that basic stuff that you would find on any dating application that is out there. And we are trying to make it as detailed as possible so that you get the most out of it, like the biggest picture, right? And then they will also upload, about 3 photos, I think 3 to 6 photos. And then once that is complete, they're going to get a notification that they've reached a waiting point, right? And then we wait for the background check to come back, be reviewed. Assuming that everything is good, they move on to the next part, which would be to schedule their interview. So they would be likely over Zoom or some sort of video chatting app, to make sure that their photos match their profile, match their person, match what they're saying in their interview, and that all of that matches the background check. And then, once they go through that, they've made edits to their profile to make sure that it is in line with what they have said in their interview, what their background check says. Then their profile becomes live.
And verified, essentially.
Yeah, they're verified. So, and not just like selfie verification or like turn your head left or turn your head right verification, which are, it's a step up from no verification at all, but it's not enough, especially now with again, the AI. And unfortunately, both Barbara and I have talked to people who are verified, who are either not actual people or are not who they say they are, despite the verification. So that's, what we're trying to eliminate. And then once the profile is verified and live, it will actually be locked. So someone cannot go in and then just change their whole profile. They would have to apply to change certain things on their profile, and it would have to be reviewed again and make sure that it matched up with what they're saying, versus just being able to go in and, I said I was, 6 feet, but now I'm, 5, whatever, or the reverse, I guess. Or, I said that I went to school here, but actually I want to put that I went to school there. So eliminating some of that, I'll say white lies, but it's not so white lies. And then, once the profile is live, they are in a database, basically, of verified people. And then the app works like a standard app, where you can swipe left, right, you can block, you can report. We are looking to have higher reporting standards. So, if there is behavior that is not conducive to making a real connection, if you're just like on there for matches or whatever, that is something that we are looking to monitor and sort of weed out, because we do want this to be a good experience and not just like any other dating app now just has, secure people. So
Yeah. And not a bunch of wasted time and wasted money and wasted heartache. So one question I have for either of you is in your background checks, what are you looking for? Like what would disqualify somebody from being able to set up a LoveLock profile?
A felon.
Okay. So felonies.
Felonies. I think if someone has had bankruptcy on their record, that we would want to explore that. I mean, it might have been something out of their control, but we want to make sure that we don't take somebody into the site who their motive could be to drain somebody else's bank account.
Yeah. They don't have a pattern of financial instability.
Yeah, right. So we want to look at that. We really want to make sure that they match, that their photos and that they're a real person when they talk to us, because we're going to ask them a lot of questions about their profiles.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're not disqualifying people, though, who have had 3 speeding tickets or something like that. I just wanted to make that kind of distinction, that this, although there is a background check process, I know some people hear that and then they get a little bit squirmish, like, oh my gosh, I got 3 speeding tickets in a year one time when I was whatever, and just have like these weird situations. Or maybe somebody in the past, far past, had a DUI, but now they are a recovered addict of 10 years or something like that. So they've proven sustainable change. I assume that those are the kinds of situations that if somebody had a DUI that was from 15 years ago, that's why you guys would be meeting with them, is to hear their story, really, which, in case I haven't made that clear, Created Worthy is all about the stories. And that's why I love LoveLock. Is really, it sounds like this is an app where people's stories are on the very front end. So you get to hear and see and read and experience, in a sense, people's life stories before you even connect with them. And so you can really, weed out all of the things that would make for a potentially problematic relationship, and instead invest your time into people who are already a good match, at least on the foundational level.
Chemistry, maybe you'll meet a wonderful friend,
yeah.
Right? So, we can't guarantee that you're going to find the love of your life on LoveLock, but we hope that even by just taking the time with real people instead of with fake profiles, if you take the time with a real person, you might have a friend who's perfect for this person, right?
Yeah.
So we're hoping that it's not only a community of people who want to date or want to find that perfect person for them, but that it's a larger community because they feel safe.
I would love for both of you to just give me a little bit of history on your love lives. I assume that there were some parts of your story that made this something that you became passionate about. So whoever wants to take the lead, tell me about your love history, per se.
I was married at 20, and I've been married for a very long time. 6 years ago, my husband died. As I said, my brother met his match and told me I should go on the dating sites because he found the love of his life on a dating site, but I found only catfishers. So, it's not that I feel like I'm energetic. I love to travel. There are a lot of things about me that are kind of cool, but, at my age, we all have boundaries. We all have warts. And I'm just want to talk to a real person, right? Mm-hmm. So, it's not that I've been on dating sites for a long time, because during COVID was the first time. I lost my husband in 2017, but 2020 was COVID. I didn't date at all prior to COVID. And then, with the encouragement of my friends, I got on these dating sites and they've all heard about my catfishing stories. But, I've been on and off because it's always the same thing. It's always the same fake profiles. 70% of profiles, it's estimated, on dating sites are fake. So, your odds of finding that wonderful person, particularly at my age, And I actually think older people need love too, that they need a safe place. They probably need a safer place than someone in their 20s because they have a lot to lose.
Yeah.
So, that's why we started this, is that we're very excited about it.
Yes.
And we feel that it will really offer something and it'll help people find that match.
Yes. And it protects people too.
Yes. So, kind of just I'll start with jumping off by something that Barbara said. So she's definitely had a little bit more experience with the catfishers. I think I'm a little more skeptical and was more skeptical to start just because I've had so much more experience with online dating. So I look at it with a different bias. But my experience more recently has not necessarily been catfishers, although there, of course, is that. But is like bot profiles or just full on fake profiles that are just there for you to look at. And that's something that we ran into actually in researching who we want to develop this app as from a coding side, that you can actually buy fake profiles to start your dating app with. And that's something that we absolutely do not want to do. We won't be having any profiles like that are just sort of placeholders or to show an inflated number of users, right? So that's the most recent experience of dating, is just so many bot or fake profiles. My history with online dating goes back quite a bit further. Not quite 20 years, but close. I definitely did online dating in college and in law school when it was still very taboo, when it was basically your two big, your eHarmony and your Match, basically. And unfortunately didn't have a great experience on either site. I do feel like it was totally different back then, totally different landscape, completely different. I think people were more serious because it was taboo. So if you were doing it, you were more serious about it. And loved the long questionnaires and all of that, but just it never really took for me. So I've been on and off dating sites with variable levels of success for almost 2 decades. Like I said, I've had some great relationships from dating apps that unfortunately ended because of, whatever circumstances, things, didn't see the future the same way or whatever. So I do know that it does work when you meet the right person. But since maybe, goodness, just before the pandemic, maybe even 2 years before the pandemic, it's just felt like more of a slog, or just work to get through online dating. It's like a full-time job of weeding through profiles and having to be so attentive to little things that I'm like, okay, this is probably a fake profile, or this is probably that. Or if that does get through, then the energy of, conversing with someone to then realize a few days later or a few messages later or whatever that, okay, this person has no intention of actually meeting in person, or this is a fake profile, or is a bot, or is a catfish, a good one because they got through, right? But nonetheless, and you of course have the time toll, right? That you're spending so much time. I mean, you can sit on the apps forever and just swipe and swipe and swipe. And then you have the energy toll of the amount of energy that you're putting in, and the emotional toll too, of when you think maybe you have a connection, and then it ends up being this or that. And like Barbara said, we can't guarantee that you're going to find that chemistry or the connection that you're looking for on our app, but we can help with it not being fake, right?
Yeah. And you can help with the energy toll that it takes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because I mean, realistically, you're going to have less matches. There's going to be less people, more real people, but less people on the app. So you're going to get less matches. You're going to have less conversations, but hopefully the quality will by far make up for the quantity.
Yes, absolutely. It will. I am so looking forward to just all of it, being able to be go download LoveLock. One question that I have that ties to creative processing, which Barbara, in case you don't know, one of the big things that I always talk about is creative processing. It's simply activating your creative mind to process a certain intention. So one thing, I guess it's not really a question, but it's like I recommend that you put this on your questionnaire for LoveLock is, what is your primary creative method, or how do you like to create? Because I think creating together, if you guys, Barbara, you've probably experienced this in the past with your husband. There are times in marriage where, or in relationships where, like, you just are able to create together, whether that's create your house of your dreams, or create a dinner, or create a memory, right? Like an experience. Creating together is just a really incredible way to, one, see if you're compatible, but two, to foster that sense of intimacy.
We'll add it to the questionnaire.
Hey.
Because I think it's important to understand how people operate, right?
Yes.
Not only creatively, but how do you argue? You know,
yes.
We're hoping that the clients on this site will ask those questions of each other when they're talking, or communicating with each other by text or phone or video chat. But I think this is a serious site. This is not a site where, if what you want is to hook up, well, there's a possibility here, but 90% of the people will not be their primary goal, right? So, we're probably catering to a little bit older group, a group of people who are a little more stable and have been trying to date and find those person in their life, I've been very fortunate. I've had this once. I'd like it again, right?
Yeah.
And it'd be nice, but I really feel that my friends need it more than me, because some of them haven't had that experience yet.
Yes. Well,
it's wonderful to be in love. It's just wonderful to be in love and to feel that you found the right person.
It is absolutely an honor and a privilege. And I am standing in full confidence that both of you guys will be in love again very soon, hopefully through this incredible app that you are developing together. Yes, through LoveLock. How incredible would it be that the founders both find their person through this? And I stand in full faith that will happen. I'm going to declare that. I'm going to pray for it. So before we close up today, is there anything else you guys would like to talk about with LoveLock?
I think because we don't have fake profiles, it's going to be a slow start unless people really love what we're doing and they pile in, right? So the more people who join, the bigger the database it will be. So we're telling people it might be slow at first because, we have to get all kinds of people in to the database, match these profiles. But we think that there's such a need that once people hear about it, they'll want to be part of this.
And anything new that is good, let me specify, anything new that is good and has a strong foundation does take some time to really develop and get the word out about it. And that's why we're doing this podcast today. And I'm so glad that you guys reached out and wanted to jump on here and talk about this. Because like I said, I've heard Kasey talking, just spitfiring the idea for over a year now. And now there's actually movement happening to make this come to fruition. And I personally am so excited about it. I know quite a few people who I can't wait to refer and recommend LoveLock to. And I think there's quite a few listeners who are single that are tired of the online dating games too. They want somewhere where they know that they're going to be safe, right? And I think that that's something that has kind of been stripped away through the 20 years or however long it's been since eHarmony and the other original dating apps started, is it's just become less and less and less safe. And so what you guys are doing here is you're adding a level of safety to something that should be a very safe process. When you're looking with intention to find someone to love and to do life with, you want that experience to be as safe as possible. And just with the way the world has gone and all the advances, it's kind of gone the opposite way. So I commend you for taking a step forward and developing this app so that people can find love in ways that are safe and ways that are real.
The biggest or the most impactful decision that you're going to make is who your partner is for life.
Mm-hmm.
That affects so many other things. So you do all these background checks for jobs and for apartments and for all of that. Why wouldn't you be doing that for who you could be the biggest decision of your life, right?
Yeah.
And actually, we save you time because we do that background check and you don't have to do it yourself. When you get into a relationship, oftentimes you get to a point where, is this person real or not? And so you feel like you hire somebody to do a background check on them. And 9 times out of 10, with me, you find out that they're a catfisher. But, it's just that's all done for you up front. So you can safely and confidently pursue the app and look at profiles. And all of these people have done the same thing you've done.
So if there is somebody listening who is very interested in and wants to jump on the LoveLock train once it's released, is there somewhere that they can go to stay in the loop and be the first to hear about when LoveLock is available?
So right now we are still in the development and fundraising stage. So we will be launching a Kickstarter, hopefully very soon. We don't have an exact date for that yet, but hopefully launching a Kickstarter. And in the meantime, we will also probably, not a waiting list per se, but an interest list of sorts.
Yeah.
The web address is lovelockdating.com. And right at the date of recording this podcast right now, there's almost nothing on it, but we will be putting up a sort of an interest form on that site and doing some other things as well. But lovelockdating.com is the web address for now, and hopefully a Kickstarter very soon. If you are interested in LoveLock and want to hear the updates, want to learn more about it, want to be the first to know when we're seeking beta testers or when we launch, go to lovelockdating.com and fill out the short interest form that we have there.
Yes. And we will have that link in the show notes along with contact information. So if you are interested in being a part of the development process of LoveLock, please reach out to them. This app is coming to market. We're going to speak that into existence as soon as you possibly can. I know that you guys are in the weeds of all of the logisticals right now, but yeah, if you are listening to this and you're like, I think I can help, reach out to them. If you are tired of the online dating pool of fake people and bots and profiles and catfishes and all of that, go to lovelockdating.com, fill out their interest form. And thank you, Kasey and Barbara, so much for joining me today and for putting together this incredible tool to make online dating safe. I am so grateful to have spent some time with both of you guys here today and for your courage and vulnerability to develop this app the way that you are committed and have used your personal experiences and stories to make something that is possible for love to really exist, for real love to exist, for real connections, for friendship to exist is more than admirable. So thank you for that. Keep shining, keep going forward with this incredible tool. I have no doubt that it's going to change lives. It's going to serve people in huge ways. It's going to help them to make the best decision possible when it comes to their relationships and choosing the person that they love. You both, my friends, are created worthy. Thanks for listening and tuning in to the Created Worthy podcast. I hope that today's show resonated with you. And if it did, can you do me a huge favor and go leave a 5-star review? This helps more listeners find the show and it expands the reach of the stories and concepts that are shared here. All the links and guest information are in the show notes. And if you're on social media, come hang out with me. You can find the Created Worthy podcast on both Instagram and Facebook, or come follow along with my personal IG page, where I just share more about the real, sometimes messy life of your fellow worthy warrior. Can't wait to talk to you soon, friend. And don't forget, we are all created worthy.